Alrighty, good morning, folks. Welcome to this episode of the Schusterian Logic podcast. I wasn't intending on making a video this morning, but I felt inspired to have a discussion about something that I've seen with a lot of job changers and just people who get hired into technology in general. So the subject of today's episode is what most people miss about getting the job. And so now I spend a lot of time talking to people who are moving into jobs, people who are moving into new roles, people who want to do better. And most of the time, when people make the transition, they talk about their skills, right? Obviously, here are my skill sets. Here's what I want to do. How do I go and get the job? And there's a lot to be done on that side of it. When you go in and apply to a job, the transferable thing between job to job is what skills you have, what experiences you do, how do you show that, how you market that, and you go on. And that's all very useful. But I think when people don't get the job, or they see a job description and they think they're a good fit for the organization and they don't get the job, there's this sense of entitlement, for lack of a better term, that I deserve that job. I need that job. I want that, or I should have gotten it, or, they should have called me back. There was an issue. And I think that we need to talk about what being hired for a job actually means. So what most people think, especially people in the career changing realm, and even people who've done the job for a long time, that the job is about the skills and the role and doing the role. They think the transaction is, I am a manager. I am hiring you. There's a role out there that I put that says, here's what I expect out of this position. Your job in this is really to do these list of things and make sure, do them well. So if I say I'm a project manager, it's about being a good project manager, doing good project manager work, working as hard as you can, working long hours, whatever. If it's about being an SRE, it's about keeping the system reliable. It's about holding that pager. It's about doing, 24, being on call 24/7, whatever it might be. And that they think that pretty much is the end of it, that this, once you do the role, that's enough. But the truth is that that's, you're conflating the shorthand the company needs to do to hire out the position and what I'm actually hiring for. See, at the end of the day, I need a role. I'm hiring for a project manager. But the truth is that I'm not looking to hire a project manager per se. That's not the real thing. That's just what I can market out there to find somebody to take care of what the real problem is. What the job actually is one person taking responsibility for some domain owned by somebody else and doing it for them. So what I mean by that is that as a manager, when I go and hire a new SRE on my team, I need them to do a particular role, but the role is not really the thing. Like, that's the thing. We create structures in organizations. We create structures inside of organizations to make it easy to hire out for positions. Employers have the same problem that that job hunters have, and that how do I find people to fit the different problems I have? So we go and find disciplines like Agile, for example, that tells us here's how you build out teams, and you look at best practices to know what these roles are. But really, here's how it happens. I go to the company and they give me a responsibility. Brian, you are managing the site reliability engineering team. Your job is to save money, keep the system reliable, do 24/7. There's these whole things here, but really they're taking some thing out there that says we own this package of items that you need to do, improve on, that we need to do well with. Hand it to me and say, here, Brian, you're going to be responsible for this now. How do you accomplish it? We don't know. They may have some opinions and they may say, here are some check boxes you need to hit, but they're handing you this responsibility in a pile of cash and saying, go and fix this problem or manage this responsibility. So then I go and say, well, okay, fine. If I had to start this from scratch, what do I need to do? Well, I need developers to go and help with the solution. I need project managers to go and work on this. I need a BA to help me with this, with this stuff. I'm making these roles, but what I'm effectively doing is I'm taking the big problem, chunking it up into smaller levels of responsibility, and then taking that responsibility and hire somebody to go and take that. So then it becomes this, this separate thing. So let me give you an example. I just kind of riddled this off before I started the podcast, but it's funny. So let's say I have a dirt shoveling business, and I'm hiring someone there. If you think of like the lowest level of responsibility that exists there, you think of, I need somebody to shovel dirt. And that's all it is. They need to shovel dirt. So I'm going to go hire out somebody and go and do that. And that is like the most mechanical. When you get to like really junior levels, it really is what it looks like the job description, right? They want somebody to shovel dirt. If you shovel dirt, that's fantastic. You'll get hired for the job. You do that. And you can kind of live in this world where it's not really about the responsibility of shoveling dirt. It's just, let me do the things here and get the job here. But as soon as you want to start advancing and growing, all of a sudden it becomes less about the details and more about owning the responsibility there. So the next level up, it says, I need someone to manage the dirt shoveling project. So when I'm going to hire somebody, I'm not merely hiring somebody who I know does the role. You're looking for somebody who has a bigger responsibility, somebody who has shown that, if I hire someone who has experience, they're going to be able to manage this bigger project for me. So now me as a manager, maybe I have a bunch of dirt shoveling jobs that are out there, and I have 5 of them. I'm hiring one person, not just, to either help a team or, assist the team in making sure that the project gets off the ground. I'm not hiring them for their ability to shovel dirt. I'm hiring them to own this particular problem, and they have the indicators to show that they've done that. So that's kind of the next level. But then let's go and say we go level out, where I now need somebody where it's like I have a bunch of dirt shoveling, but now I need to scale this out. I need to make this better. I need to optimize among my dirt shoveling businesses, my dirt shoveling operations. So I need to hire somebody who will manage many projects and really understands how teams operate. So once again, now I'm not really hiring for a set of skills, though there are certain skills I want to see there. But I really care. The thing I want to show is that they have responsibility underneath underneath it, that they own the responsibility. It belongs on me right now, the hiring manager, the person who owns the group, to make sure that this works out. But now I'm hiring someone to take on that responsibility. And then maybe finally you go and say, look, I want to go start a dirt shoveling business. I don't have one. Looks like a good business. I want people to start shoveling dirt, and I think I make some big bucks shoveling dirt, So I need somebody who knows how to do that. So I need somebody who's done it from scratch, who understands the operation, who can start teams, who can do all those things there. So I'm talking about somebody who knows the ins and outs of the business. So now I'm hiring somebody who really, at this point, they don't need to know anything about the details of what it means to shovel dirt. I don't really care. What I really care about is their ability to take responsibility and say, yeah, I'm going to start this business for you. You're going to help explain what's the end goal? What's the objective? What are we trying to do? How fast are we trying to do? Is that reasonable? And they need to be able to communicate with me that they can, create this, dirt shoveling empire. But ultimately they get in, they own the responsibility. But what I want you to see is that at the top levels, it's more obvious to see that responsibility, that's what really matters. But at every level down, I may use a convenient shorthand to say you need to have the skills to be able to get this job, but really it's always the responsibility. And that's the way you need to see that. That's what's going to help you not just get the job, but be able to talk about past jobs, be able to talk about what you wish to do, talking about having ownership of a role and saying, I own this and this is what this means. And it'll help you with actually getting that job, getting that experience. It's a subtle mind shift change, but all of a sudden you'll stop talking about the details of the role, like that's what really matters, and start talking about, well, I owned this role. I owned this responsibility. Yes, I did things to do that. I shoveled dirt at the end of the day. I slung code. I made test cases. But ultimately, I owned the responsibility, and you internalize that. And that's what really will help start to expand you and start to show you really make sense to be hired for the role. So the reason why this is the case is because I can't employers can't just hire for responsibility, you know, because it's really it's a hard concept to really identify in other people. So we have a shorthand that we use to try to figure that out, and that is exactly what's on a resume. What are your actual technical skills that you have? Like, what are you actually able to do? And what are your experiences that I can verify that you've actually done? These are verifiable things that exist out in the world. I can see you have the technical skills, and we can talk about your experiences, that you have the experience of doing that. And those are necessary, but, and I guess this is the point of this whole podcast, not sufficient to get the job. Not always. Only when I believe that, yeah, I can take the responsibility off my plate, which is my ass at the end of the day. Some piece of it, even if it's small, even if it's just the one person, the metaphorical dirt shoveler. That's a small piece of responsibility I'm taking away from myself, giving to you and saying, you own this now. You're responsible for this. Let's go and build this together. That if you can't use your resume to show that you have that, if you can't do that, all of a sudden you may find it hard to be able to get the role. And ultimately, if you take on this responsibility and realize that it's ultimately accountability that you're trying to sell, that you're selling your ability to say, yeah, you're going to pay me and I'm going to take this responsibility and I'm going to do the best job possible here. I'm going to expand with the role and I'm going to change things and I'm going to own this so that you don't have to worry about that. If you can show that, you're going to have no trouble getting a job. So anywho, folks, thank you very much for this episode of the Schusterian Logic podcast. I am going to be doing a live stream later this week, actually. This Saturday, I'm going to have my first live stream with the, with the people who've sent me their resume. People who wanted to do that, so it's going to be resume. It's going to be on this YouTube channel, so if you're interested in that sort of thing, subscribe, take a look at the resume, send me your resume, go on LinkedIn and send them to me, and we can go and have a chat about what you can do to improve, how you can showcase your responsibility inside of your resume, and really show that you can be accountable. So anywho, folks, thank you very much for spending some time with me today.